Welcome to Introduction to Two Frameworks for Sensitivity Analysis. I'm Ken Frank, and with my group, I've developed the KonFound-It app and software. This work has been supported by the Institute of Education Sciences from the U.S. federal government, Department of Education. You can look at this PowerPoint by scanning this QR code, or if you have the PowerPoint already, there's the link to it. Today, we'll be learning about two approaches. One is called the robustness of inference to replacement, or RIR, and the second is called the impact threshold for a confounding variable. Both are techniques to help you evaluate the strength of evidence supporting an inference and to talk about that strength of evidence. So we're just going to jump in and do two quick examples of how you would use these techniques. The first example comes from an article that appeared in Nature by Raj Chetty, Matthew Jackson, and a group of economists and sociologists um, uh, about the effect of economic connectedness and upward mobility. This was from 2022. So there's a little abstract for it. You can check that out. And let's see what they were up to. They were interested in the effect of economic connectedness, and that would be the share of high SES friends among individuals with low SES. SES is socioeconomic status, which they term economic connectedness. And we're going to see how, if you have a lot of high SES friends, does that predict your economic mobility? This is using Facebook data over time. And it was great that they got their hands on the Facebook data. And so then they run a regression analysis, and they use this predictor economic connectedness to predict how much you moved up in mobility and economic mobility. The scale of the coefficient's a little bit difficult to interpret, so we'll just work with statistical significance. The coefficient is 0.548. The standard error is 0.038. With 24,000 or so observations, and there's actually one covariate here. And so we're going to see what it would take to change our inference given these findings. And to do that, we're going to engage the KonFound-It app, which we can access by clicking right here. And so we have a continuous outcome, estimates from a linear model. I'll make that a little bit bigger. And we're going to first ask for the robustness of inference to replacement right there. And to execute this, we put in the estimated effect, which if on the previous slide was 0.548, the standard error, which was 0.038, the number of observations as reported in the article is 24,165. And there was one covariate in the model having to do with the median income. Given that, we can click Run, and we will learn that to nullify the inference of an effect using the threshold of 0.074 for statistical significance, 86% of the estimate of 0.548 would have to be due to bias. That is, to nullify the inference, you'd expect to have to replace almost 21,000 of the data points with data points for which the effect is 0. So now it's not a question of whether there's bias in this estimate. There almost certainly is, because there could be lots of factors associated with your exposure to high SES friends and lots of factors associated with your upward mobility. There could be sampling bias factors. This is Facebook data, all kinds of things. But now we know how much of the estimate would have to be due to bias to change our minds. And we can think of that as how much data you'd have to replace to change your inference. You can see references, academic references for the basis of these calculations here. Nice graphical output. And if you want, you can have view the full R output from this. And perhaps even more importantly, you can use the app to generate the corresponding R code or stata code. And this stata code or R code would run the analysis that we just saw, as well as do many other things. You can extend it beyond just the simple example that we just did. So that's the first example. And I've got it here on the slides, just checking off so you can see what we just did. And there it is, 86.4% of the estimate would have to be due to bias. So in order to interpret what it means to replace data with data for which there's zero effect, we're actually going to open up another app and see if I can demonstrate this for you. People always ask, how do we conceptualize that? So let's see if we can take a look. This is a great app, and I got to the wrong one. Sorry about that. All right, there we go. Clicked on the wrong thing. Okay, here, this is one of my favorite teaching apps. So we can use it to run a little regression. Good. And now we can ask it to show the best fit line. And we can actually ask it to show the residuals or the squared residuals for those of you who've had statistical classes on statistics for estimating a linear model. We know that this line is drawn to minimize the squared errors. When we talk about replacing data points with cases for which there's no treatment effect, this blue line represents data for which there's no treatment effect. That is the null hypothesis of zero slope. So when we talk about replacing data, what we're doing is we're talking about moving data, observed data points, to be basically right on that line. And watch what happens to the red line when I do that. The slope of the red line changes. And at some point, I'll replace enough data points so the slope of the red line would no longer be discernible from the null hypothesis blue line. So the blue line represents H naught. That's right there. And now it looks like the red line really can't be differentiated from the blue line. And we did that by replacing two data points. Good. So that's what it means to replace. That's one way to conceptualize what it means to replace data points. Let's learn our second framework now. And so to do that, we're going to look at a piece by Michael Gottfried on absenteeism in schools affecting achievement. Michael did a lot of this work before COVID, before the pandemic, but he's done a lot since because absenteeism increased during the pandemic. So Mike Gottfried finds that results consistently indicate a positive relationship between student attendance and academic achievement. And if we just take a look at this estimated effect here, which the coefficient is 0.014, standard error is 0.001, sample size is about 19,000, and the number of covariates is debatable, but we'll interpret it as 237, accounting for some fixed effects in the model. So we could go back to our KonFound-It app here and figure out what it would take to change the inference. So let's do that. This time we're going to say still continuous outcome, estimates from a linear model, but we're going to ask for the impact threshold for a confounding variable, the other framework. And we're going to go ahead and put in Gottfried's estimate, which was 0.014, with the standard error of 0.001. Number of observations was 18830, and the number of covariates, again, which is a subject of interpretation, but about 237. If we click run, we find out that the minimum impact of an omitted variable needed to nullify an inference is based on correlations of about 0.3 with the outcome and 0.3 with the predictor of interest, absenteeism, or being present in school. So omitted variable would have to be pretty strongly correlated by social science standards, 0.3 with the outcome and 0.3 with the predictor of interest to change the inference to nullify the statistical significance. You can read about the product of those two correlations is what we call impact, and there it is right there. So the impact would have to be about 0.09 to change the inference. You can compare that impact with the impacts of observed covariates, as well as impacts in other published studies. You can read about this in the original piece in 2000, as well as some other references that are available on our website. There's a little graphic for it. You can see the correlation between the omitted variable and the outcome, and between the omitted variable and the predictor of interest. Each would have to be 0.3. Full R output, if you want to read that. And again, you could generate these analyses using with the corresponding R code or stata code. Good. And if we come back then, so we actually did that analysis here on the slides. You can see it repeated there. The omitted variable would have to be correlated 0.3 with the outcome and with the predictor to change the inference. And you can kind of get a nicer version of the graphic right here. You can see this confounding variable 0.3 with days present and with achievement. That would change the correlation between days present and achievement from 0.102 to 0.014, and that 0.014 would have a p-value of 0.05. Okay, so we've got two frameworks for sensitivity analysis: the robustness of inference replacement, and that generates statements such as, to nullify your inference, blank percent of your data would have to be replaced with data for which there was no effect. And in the example from on economic mobility, we found out it was 86%. Or to nullify your inference, the ITCV impact threshold for a confounding variable, to nullify your inference, omitted confounding variable would have to be correlated with the focal predictor and the outcome at about 0.3 for the example of absenteeism and student achievement. Each of these techniques are user-friendly, and they're also statistically rigorous. They're embedded and they derive from the very calculations we use to estimate effects. That makes them intuitive and easy to interpret. They can be applied to most analyses. They're technically sound, and they're computationally straightforward. As we demonstrated, you could do it on the app. In R Stata, there's even an Excel spreadsheet, so you can check out the KonFound-It app to get to that. Here's our website, which has lots of other resources, including publications, information about benchmarking, upcoming events, that sort of thing. Here are some related publications. You can they're hyperlinked. And this is us. Thanks for listening. Hope this can help you, and reach out to us if you like. Thank you.